Slip-ins, you just step it and go. You don't have to touch your shoes. And by the way, slip-ins are for the whole family. Men, women, and kids. In all your favorite Skechers styles, find Skechers slip-ins at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
Physicians, your future starts here. Eisenhower Health is recruiting across a variety of specialties. As a nonprofit health system in Southern California's beautiful Coachella Valley, Eisenhower offers medical excellence alongside an exceptional quality of life. Start your day with sunshine and stunning landscapes. End it knowing you've made a difference. Deliver top-tier care with advanced technology, all in a place where work-life balance thrives. Visit emc.org/MD to learn more. That's emc.org/MD. Eisenhower Health. Welcome home.
Your home for Richmond Spiders athletics all year round. W291CL Lakeside Richmond. WURV HD2 Richmond. We are 1061 ESPN. Richmond, it's time to get your morning going. Super Bowl. Richmond Sports Talk by Richmond sports fans. This is Fitz the Bill with Jack Fitzpatrick.
Strike him! All live from the capital of the Commonwealth.
Where sharp analysis, your cause, and Richmond always come first. If it's making headlines locally or nationally, we're breaking it down. Now,
I'll take my time to South Beach.
Live from the capital of the Commonwealth, it's The Bill with your host, Jack Fitzpatrick.
Good Thursday morning. Well, it's Friday for us here at the ESPN Richmond studios. Off tomorrow, but thank you for getting your day started with us. July 3rd, right here on Fitz the Bill. I'm Jack Fitzpatrick, Alan alongside. Wherever you're listening, however you're listening, thank you for making us part of your morning routine on 1061 ESPN, the ESPN Richmond app, or ESPNRichmond.com. And if you want to watch, due to some difficulties out there in the ether, only on the ESPN Richmond YouTube for the time being. So you can check that out. Just type in ESPN Richmond in YouTube in the search bar. We'll pop right on up and you can watch live there. You can also subscribe. And while you're on YouTube, might as well subscribe to Fitz the Bill, ESPN RVA. Never miss an interview, exclusive behind the scenes looks, takes, everything like that. You can also find Fitz the Bill on Instagram at Fitz the Bill, ESPN RVA there as well. We've got a loaded NASCAR heavy second hour that I'm very excited for. Pat Jaggers so graciously decided since we're off tomorrow, we'll move him to Thursday, and he'll come on and talk about the Chicago street race, some Trackhouse Racing news, as Daniel Suarez and Trackhouse Racing have decided to part ways at the end of this season. So Pat Jaggers from the Motor Racing Network, he'll be joining us at around 9 a.m., and Lori Warren, the track president at Richmond Raceway, she'll be joining us at 9:30 right here. So set your alarms now. You do not want to miss it. A lot of NASCAR talk coming up in hour number 2. Also later today, come on out to Ashton Creek Vineyard from 4 until 6 p.m. Hang out, have some delicious Virginia wine. Come say hello as we're kicking off the holiday weekend. They've got live music tonight down at Ashton Creek Vineyard. We'll be there from 4 until 6. We're getting ready really to kick off their summer concert series, which is this Sunday. It's totally free. You can check out their entire schedule over at their sister Instagram, Riverside_Vines. That's at Riverside_Vines. You can get the latest on their summer concert series, which does begin Sunday. They've got a new concert every couple of Sundays throughout the entire summer at their sister location, Riverside Vines. So in the meantime, come on out, kick off the holiday weekend with us. If you got Friday off, come on out, enjoy some live music. Come say hey to us from 4 until 6 p.m. down at Ashton Creek Vineyards. And it feels like a Friday, Alan. It feels like a Friday. We walked into the studio today and we both kind of looked at each other and said, man, feels like the holidays already started.
It's been a struggle for sure.
We're on cup of coffee number. I think I've lost count already.
I don't even think coffee can save me this morning, but I'm here, baby.
Hey, T, you know, that was the sneaky toughest part of the 999 challenge. They don't tell you that. Keep track.
Oh,
I lost count at one point.
You lost count of how much you'd eaten and drank?
I think I had one more beer than I thought. So just in case.
you gotta have a friend there, right, to count for you. What about your rules person? They didn't keep track?
No, they didn't keep track.
Oh, they're fired.
Yeah, exactly. I had a content creator there filming me. Shout out Bethany. She was filming. And then I had my rules analyst, but I didn't have a counter. I didn't have an official counter. I know. But it's the 4th of July weekend. So that means a lot of people probably going out to baseball games attempting to try the 999 challenge. If you have any questions, feel free to DM us at Fitz The Bill, ESPN RVA on Instagram. I'm happy to answer all 999 related questions.
I'm on the grill this weekend. Maybe I'll do the 999 on the grill.
I like it. Are you charcoal grill or gas grill? This is a big question.
I mean, why gas grills are a waste of time.
Thank you. I'm charcoal only.
Yeah.
I got my nice Weber at home. I'm a big.
Now,
big
I will
guy.
say though, because it's a huge, it's more of a family reunion type thing. Anyway,
you're on the grill for that.
Yeah, so we have a gas grill that, like, you put the burgers and hot dogs on, but like all the things I care about go on the charcoal grill.
True. If I'm using my smoker, I do have an electric smoker. Yeah. Just because that's the easiest way to maintain.
I got a promotion, man. I used to be just on the fish. Now I'm on the grill. I know.
Wow. What did fish entail?
You just fry the fish.
Okay, fried the fish. Okay.
It's easy, but people make it complicated.
Now you're on grill.
Yeah, I got voluntold, but it's a promotion.
Hey, you're moving on up, man.
Moving sideways.
More like a very, very, very small angled.
Since we're here, can I do a PSA? Take care of your people that cook for you, man. Because at these cookouts, especially big cookouts, by the time people are done cooking,
all the food's
gone.
Yeah.
And there was one year.
You got to stay hydrated too, because it's hot behind those
I always stay hydrated. Okay. But there was one year, I'm not gonna lie, we had a moment. I fried fish like I was Jesus. I don't know how much fish I cooked, but I was out there for like 2 hours just straight frying fish.
Wait, did Jesus ever fry fish?
I'm assuming he did. When I got done, there was not one piece of fish left. And I stopped the cookout, and I was like, people who got to-go plates and all that, nah, bring it back. Running pockets, running plates for fish.
Oh, man.
So, yeah, please take care of your cooks.
That'd be devastating. You finish frying all that fish, you're like, man, I can't wait to have one of these myself.
It was about to be a fight. No.
See, I'm a eat while I cook guy. So by the time I finish cooking, I'm not hungry anymore.
I might need to do that.
Yeah, I'm a big eat while I cook guy. So like if I'm having a couple if I'm on grill and I'm doing burgers and hot dogs, right? I'll go ahead and make myself a real quick hot dog. See if they're tasting all right. It's a taste test. That's what you got to do.
All right. How do you like your hot dogs?
How do I like my hot dogs?
Yeah, off the grill.
Like, what do I put on them?
No, like, do you like them burnt? Do you like them in between?
No, I like them with the grill marks bursted.
Okay.
So I don't like them burnt, but I don't like them just like warmed up. You got to have that burst because when it's perfectly cooked, it's kind of split down the middle. That's how, with a little ketchup, mustard, relish, onion, fire.
All right.
I go the works.
I approve that more than I approve your karaoke choices.
Hey, Fergalicious is a great one. That's a great one. Regulate is a great one.
I'm never going to let that go.
Regulate is a great one. I wonder if he'll be performing Regulate on Friday at the hot dog eating contest at Parlay.
If he is, again, he needs to do it in the Macho Man voice.
Yeah, that's true. Man, what when he said regulate, in case you missed it yesterday, we had Duke, the owner of Graybo's and Parlay Sports Bar and Lounge over in Scott's Addition. They've got a hot dog eating contest coming up on Friday at around 12:30 in their parking lot. But we got onto the fact of karaoke, and he said his karaoke song was Regulate, which is a karaoke song I've never heard chosen before.
I wonder if he does the whole intro too.
I feel like you got to, right? I feel like that is part of the song.
I back when I was social and I used to go to karaoke, my go-to was No Diggity. Oh. And there was one version where they had the rap in it.
Yeah.
Like, so I was a little thrown off, but I did it anyway. I knew the words. So I was lucky.
And also they show that's a nice thing about karaoke. They show the words to you.
That's true.
So in case you don't know, speaking of showing the words to you, we'll show you what you may have missed in the wide world of sports with our sports update.
This is your Fitz the Bill morning update, getting you caught up on some of the biggest stories in sports.
All right, Shams Charania, Sham bomb doesn't hit the same as Woj bomb. Hopefully we'll get a Woj bomb from St. Bonaventure here soon. Sham Charania is reporting the New York Knicks are expected to hire former Sacramento Kings head coach Mike Brown. Mark Stein is also reporting that the Knicks are expected to add James Borrego. He's currently an assistant on the Pelican staff, former Charlotte Hornets head coach. They're expected to add James Borrego as the lead assistant on the staff with Mike Brown. Keeping it in the NBA, the Lakers signed DeAndre Ayton after he was bought out by the Trailblazers. It's a 2-year, $16.6 million deal with a player option for the second year. The Lakers, they get a position they desperately needed to fill, and now with securing Jake LaRavia, everyone knows Jake LaRavia, earlier this week, the Lakers are essentially out of cap space. Around the MLB last night, the Nationals and Tigers split their doubleheader. Pirates keep on winning. They take down the Cardinals 5-0. Padres and Phillies split the doubleheader. The Mets lose game 1 of the doubleheader, 7-2. Then the Mets won game 2. However, since the middle of June, the Mets are 4-14. The Blue Jays got a home win over the Yankees, 11-9, and the Orioles lost again, 6-0 to the Texas Rangers. Braves got an 8-3 win over the Angels, and Drixon Profar returned to the lineup. Profar homered in his return, going 2 for 4 at the plate after batting 6th in the lineup. Clayton Kershaw didn't get the win, but did get the necessary 3 strikeouts, which makes him part of the 3,000 strikeout club. The lefty is just the 4th left-hander to become part of the club, joining Randy Johnson, Steve Carlton, and CC Sabathia. With the MLB All-Star Game just about 2 weeks away, we have learned some of the starters. Actually, we've learned all the starters. Notably, Cal Raleigh, the MLB's home run leader for the Mariners. He's going to be in the lineup. Jacob Wilson, the AL Rookie of the Year favorite for the Athletics, set to start as well. Vlad Jr., Aaron Judge, part of the starting lineup for the American League, and Manny Machado, Francisco Lindor, Pete Crow Armstrong among the starters for the National League. And rounding things out, the U.S. men's national team won last night in the Gold Cup semifinal, 2-1 over Guatemala. Diego Luna notched a brace for the U.S. to secure the win, both of his goals coming in the first 15 minutes of the game. Mexico also won its semifinal game 1-0 over Honduras. So it sets up a Gold Cup final on July 6th in Houston between the two nations. The U.S. is 7-5 all time in Gold Cup finals. So that's what you may have missed overnight in the wide world of sports. Great showing yesterday. Great showing last night from the men's national team, getting that Gold Cup finals appearance. It's their first Gold Cup finals appearance since 2021. And Diego Luna had himself a pretty good start to the match. First 15 minutes, 2 quick goals. Guatemala was able to get one back in the 80th minute, but wasn't enough as the U.S. men's national team goes on to notch their spot in the Gold Cup final. After everything that was happening for the U.S. men's national team coming into the Gold Cup, they've done a very good job in this tournament of kind of quieting a lot of naysayers out there.
Yeah, it looks like things are coming together well for them right now. We'll see how they do against Mexico, but we're also not going to forget how they looked at their lowest of low. So what you're telling me is there's not a lot of depth on Team USA, which we kind of anticipated, but that was pretty bad.
I mean, this Gold Cup, we'll talk about a little bit more at News or Snooze coming up at 8:30. But I mean, this team has kind of taken that monkey off. I know it did look bad. What was it? 4-0 loss to one of those teams, Netherlands, Sweden, one of those.
It was, we got beat by 20 if it was Netherlands. But I think it was Sweden.
But like,
or the Swiss, sorry, it was Switzerland.
Done a good job of kind of putting together the necessary pieces for the Gold Cup. I mean, Diego Luna has turned into an absolute star in this Gold Cup.
Yeah, he's on my alerts, so he's got to be a star. The only 2 things I got alerts for yesterday was Shams and Luna.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I mean, I'm not saying Luna is going to take down Pulisic as the starting scorer for this team.
Yeah, it's like our 10.
Yeah,
but I don't think that'll happen.
But I mean, he does add some solid depth, and I mean, Pulisic just seems to be so injured and just all over the place. It will be interesting to see how much of this Gold Cup team they still got to win a final still, but how much of this Gold Cup team starting group can then slot in to the World Cup starting group? Because we're missing Weston McKennie, we're missing Tyler Adams, Pulisic, all of the big names.
They're doing the Club World Cup, right?
Yeah, they're doing the Club World Cup because it pays a little bit better. So And so over on this side, we've got Patrick Ajiman. We've got, Tim Ream and Walker Zimmerman still.
That Club
Sticking
World
around.
Cup is a little strange too. 'cause
Interesting.
I like Champions League, right? And I kind of equated it to another version of
It's
Champions
just
League,
a
essentially.
much bigger Champions League.
But the game times are like 2 a.m. or 1 a.m. It's like at least Champions League sets it up to where they're playing around the time that people like us on the East Coast, even the West Coast, can catch a game. I mean, I'm getting alerts on my soccer app about the FIFA World Cup at like 4 a.m.
Yeah,
I'm like, who's up watching that?
Yeah, the Club World Cup is something that I think it's a cool idea, and they're in year 1 of doing it. There's still a lot of kinks to work out with
It's
it.
got to be an international competition like the Olympics or the actual World Cup for me to get. I'm not getting up for, even though the club teams are interesting and it was cool to see an MLS team go as far as they did. It's cool to see some random team beating Chelsea and things like that. I'm just not getting up for that at 4 a.m.
Yeah, that and like also the early rounds of it. I know you have to do it so you can say that you've crowned the greatest club in the world. But I mean, some of those games, like Chelsea versus the 3rd best MLS team, just is not a fair fight. Just not a fair fight.
We also got like one of the most iconic fan celebrations. Somebody did the Pacer choke when Man City lost.
Yikes.
It was great. Like, you know how they panned to the stands? Yeah. It was just one fan, and it was like he just knew it was his moment. He did the whole double arm Pacer choke. I was like, okay,
good for that guy.
We've arrived. The crossover.
Club World Cup like the games played in America, the prices are high. The stadiums aren't completely sold out. Just kind of lacks a little bit of the muster and the pizzazz that everything else has. So keep doing it. I think FIFA keep doing it, but you've got to kind of work out some of the kinks going into the next Club World Cup, whenever that is. But in the Gold Cup, men's national team showing off, doing well. The one fun thing is they're 7-5 in Gold Cup finals. All 5 of those losses have come to Mexico.
Yeah, I think we're used to it by now. Like Gold Cup, we expect to see USA versus Mexico.
Yeah, it's just kind of chalk it up and then hold on to your seats and hope you win.
Well, the Mexican team hasn't been that good in the last in a while. Actually, I have to go.
We've kind of been better than them the last.
I have to go ways back. And there was at one point where they were at least looking to crack the top 10, I think, on the national or the international scene.
Mexico was,
and it was like a disappointing showing for them in the World Cup, and they kind of took some steps back.
And they just kind of got old.
Yeah,
they got old, and they didn't really have a lot of youth getting ready to kind of take over for the old guys. So they've just kind of gotten old. Where men's national team at least had that transfer of power. They had a couple weird years in there between the Landon Donovan, Clint Dempsey years, but then when Pulisic and this now young group stepped in, at least they kind of steadied the ship a little bit. But Gold Cup final Sunday. We'll see what happens because I don't have high hopes for it, but they have done a good job of getting those friendlies off of their back. Got a big win against Puerto Rico. Things got a little shaky down in the final 30 minutes against Guatemala in the semifinals. Guatemala outshot the U.S. 13-1 in the final 30 minutes of the game, getting a goal back in the 80th minute. But then they just kind of parked the bus. They brought on Walker Zimmerman as an extra center back, and they just decided, we are not going to let you score. We're going to play stout defense. Made it a little bit more nerve-wracking than I think it necessarily could have been, because early on in the second half and later on in the first half, the U.S. men's national team had multiple chances to add a third or fourth goal. Patrick Ajiman had a poor pass to Diego Luna, who was wide open, could have made it for his hat trick. There was another Patrick Ajiman wide miss that was pretty much a sitter right in front. So a couple tough breaks for Patrick Ajiman, the Charlotte FC star, who's in a lot of transfer talks right now. But overall, you get the 2 goals. Diego Luna gets his brace in 15 minutes. You hold on, you win it. And now we'll see what happens against Mexico on Sunday. All right, let's get a break in here. We'll step aside. The Knicks have reportedly made a hire. Cue the applause. Finally, it only took a month to get who? It took a month to get him? We'll talk about that on the other side of the break.
Traffic reports on 106.1 ESPN Richmond, brought to you by Herman Allen Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, a premier Linux dealer. Online at hermanallenplumbing.com.
Catch up on the latest horse racing news with Off to the Races live broadcast, 10 to 11 every Saturday morning on 106.1 ESPN. Presented by The Racing Biz.
This is a special notice to U.S. taxpayers owing $10,000 or more to the IRS. Tax Relief Advocates is urgently notifying taxpayers that tax relief initiatives are now available that may significantly reduce or eliminate what you owe. If you're afraid of an IRS lien, levy, or wage garnishment, don't lose hope. You can now take advantage of these current relief programs to end all collections, reduce the amount you owe, and resolve your tax problem. Even if you have years of unfiled tax returns or are already in a payment plan, you may still qualify for significant relief. Struggling taxpayers can now get relief they need during these hard economic times. A hotline has been established by Tax Relief Advocates for you to call and see what you qualify for. They are A+ rated with the BBB and have over 1,000 5-star reviews. Don't wait. Call 800-575-7147. 800-575-7147. That's 800-575-7147 or simply visit TRA.com.
Must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary.
This July 4th, the dogs are hot and the steaks are hotter. Parlay Bar & Lounge's second annual hot dog eating contest kicks off at noon. Winner takes home $500 cash. 3117 West Lee Street in Scott's Addition. Get hungry, Richmond.
Parlay Bar and Lounge, 3117 West Lee Street.
Amber and Ian.
Okay, all right, fine. We're going to do the everybody's trying to win the Super Bowl thing. But realistically, your plan isn't the 41-year-old guy at the quarterback position coming off of an Achilles, right? And everything that's happened. And coming off, frankly, of that last season in Green Bay, your plan isn't bringing in that guy to win a Super Bowl and realistically thinking it's going to happen and having no plan after him either.
Amber and Ian. Weeknights at 7 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on Sirius XM Channel 80. This is Freddie and Harry on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
Freddie, the only real challengers to the Eagles in the NFC this season are the Los Angeles Rams. No sense or nonsense, Freddie?
Ooh, I'm going to say that's no sense because I wonder how the Washington Commanders will handle, but for the first time since Joe Gibbs was the coach, that they have a circle around their games.
Check out more from Freddie and Harry weekdays at 3 Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. Clinton and friends.
I think he wants various NFL cities to say goodbye in reverence to the body of work of Aaron Rodgers. I remember when he was the young gunner that everybody liked. Then his entire personal life became everybody's front page news. And now he wants to draw that back and say nobody should pay attention to it. I don't know, man. Some guys fall in love with the limelight. And that's a tough place to be.
Clinton and friends. Weekdays from 10 to noon Eastern on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app. This is Joe and Q.
When they won the draft lottery, I said that this is going to work out so much better for them than even the Luka situation. I just think that Cooper Flagg is that type of player. I don't think this guy stops as far as working. Whereas Luka, he has so much stinking talent and he's so good, but I don't think that he's a guy that's just working on, I got to get in the gym and get better. I don't think Cooper Flagg is ever satisfied.
Joe and Q, weekdays from noon to 3 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app.
106.1 ESPN traffic.
We have an accident causing a delay of 95 northbound. We're heavy between Woods Edge and just before Chester Hopewell. Light volume 95 southbound from the Bryan Park interchange to Hermitage. Watch for accidents. Patterson Avenue at Foxcroft Road, another Purcell at Indale Road. Utility problem, Beulah at LaFrance Road.
From Richmond and beyond, border to border with Matt Josephs on 106.1 ESPN breaks down Virginia sports like nobody else. Bold opinions, zero sugarcoating. Tune in.
Fitz The Bill, Thursday morning. I'm Jack Fitzpatrick out alongside. Men's national team in soccer, they made a pretty splashy hire this quote-unquote offseason, bringing in Mauricio Pochettino. They brought him in, and after a little bit of some shaky time, things have settled, and they find themselves in the Gold Cup finals for the first time since 2021. The Knicks are looking to find the same type of success with Mike Brown, maybe minus the rocky start that Pooch saw with the U.S. men's national team. The New York Knicks have hired Mike Brown. Okay, here's my issue. Why in the world, Alan? Why in the world did this take a month to figure out? He has been on the market since you fired Thibodeau. Now, we've gone through the first wave of free agency, and now you've been captainless. The Knicks, though, have still made a couple of moves. I hope they fit into what Mike Brown wants. Notably, they signed Jordan Clarkson after he was bought out by the Utah Jazz. So you hired him. It took a month to figure it out. You might be bringing in Borrego as his lead assistant. And at the end of the day, Mike Brown is not a bad coach. He is actually a very good win percentage. Probably, a shockingly good win percentage when you look at it. Now, the thing is, a lot of those wins came when he was the head coach of LeBron in the Cavaliers 1.0 in the early 2000s and mid 2000s and late 2000s. But I actually think he is a good coach who was fired in haste by Sacramento earlier this season. I think Mike Brown knows what he's doing, and he has learned from his mistakes and his shortcomings early on in his coaching career. He's had a couple of assistant stints, notably with the Golden State Warriors, where he learned a lot from Steve Kerr. And I think he used a lot of that learning with Sacramento and was a darn good basketball coach. The league thought so too. He was the coach of the year in 2023. But if you're going to fire Tom Thibodeau, the natural question is Mike Brown marketably better than Tom Thibodeau? No. Was this a hire that needed a month to figure out? Also, no. Mike Brown reportedly, according to Shams, I think Zach Lowe was reporting this too, Mike Brown was the only coach that had an in-person interview with James Dolan. They only had the owner meet with one coach. Just seems, all of it feels a little wrong. And I hope Mike Brown has success. He's going to be judged immediately by success in the postseason. No one's going to care what he does in the regular season. If he flames out in the first round of the playoffs, people are going to be calling for his job immediately. If he flames out and doesn't make it to the conference finals, people will be calling for his job immediately. Tom Thibodeau supporters will be calling for his job immediately. It's a tough spot where Mike Brown is in, but bringing in James Borrego, people are linking him to be the top assistant. That could potentially help him as well. But I mean, it's an interesting hire where let's kind of take a look at the good, the bad, and the ugly when it comes to Mike Brown. He did turn Sacramento into a playoff team when they were healthy. Then they kind of struggled with some front office shenanigans, some injuries, things like that. Sabonis couldn't really stay fully healthy. He did, and Mike Brown, more so known as a defensive head coach, he did reinvent the Kings offense. When he got there, they had an 18-win increase, and they turned in from a middle to back-of-the-pack offense in the NBA to the best offense in the NBA his first season in Sacramento. Now the bad. This is his fifth head coaching stint. He has been fired 4 other times. This is his 4th different team. He's been with the Cavs twice. Cavs, second time around, not that great. His quick stint with the Los Angeles Lakers, not that great. He's made it to the NBA Finals just once, the conference finals just twice. Both of the times making it to the conference finals was his first stint with the Cleveland Cavaliers with LeBron James. He did have LeBron early, and part of that is part of why he got fired. You could argue he was underperforming. You could argue that he may have been a partial reason for why LeBron decided to leave Cleveland. Granted, that was the mid to late 2000s, so he has evolved. He has learned. I mean, he started coaching the Cleveland Cavaliers his first time around 20 years ago. So the dude's been around. He's been in the NBA. He's been in head coaching circles, assistant coaching circles for quite some time, and he's picked up a lot. And the ugly of this, it's not a huge step up from Tibbs. Probably some people would argue not a step up at all. I think it's a very slight step up, but I don't think it is a crazy step up. And with everything swirling around the New York Knicks, taking a month to hire, doing all of that, just feels a little, Just when I saw this come through, I went, nah, that's a bummer. That's who they're hiring. Nah. Will he have success? Probably. Will he have NBA championship success? Probably not.
Well, let's be fair here. Nobody has had NBA championship success there. So
yeah, but that's what he's going to be held to. That's the standard he's going to be held to.
Absolutely ridiculous. You can't hold him to a standard that you've never been. No, he would just be doing what everybody else has done. if he doesn't make it to a championship. I don't think that's fair.
They fired Tom Thibodeau because he was not capable of making them a championship team. And so they fired him. So then you would think the natural progression would be hiring a coach that you think could bring them a championship. I think Mike Brown is a good coach, but he's only been to one NBA finals. He's only been to 2 conference finals. I don't know if it's necessarily a hire that's going to take them over that ledge. Now, he does have some good experience turning the Kings into a great offense that moved the ball, that kept things going, that was unique, that really stressed teams in the half court, something that the Knicks did not do under Thibodeau. So maybe he can evolve the offense a little bit, but I mean, he's going to be held to the standard of winning a championship, and I don't know if Mike Brown gets you over that hump. All right, let's go out to the phone lines. Michael is on line 1. Good morning, Michael. How are you doing on this Thursday?
Morning, Jack. How you doing?
Good.
I don't think that if Mike Brown hire is going to win. Nothing against Mike Brown. I think he's a pretty good coach. I don't think Thibodeau is that much head and shoulders better. I'm not saying that it was the right move or they're going to win the championship. I mean, if you look at it, you can make the argument that Tom Thibodeau is really no better. I mean, he had all those bowl teams with Derrick Rose, and they were number 1 in the East for a few years when LeBron was in Cleveland against Mike Brown, and Tom Thibodeau couldn't cash in. And Tom Thibodeau has bounced around from a few teams. So I don't think, I know Thibodeau made the Eastern Conference this year, and that's going to hold a lot of weight on Mike Brown not being as good. But I just think the Knicks, I said it before, I think the Knicks just had a lucky run this year, and now all of a sudden all the Knicks fans or the media is thinking the Knicks are a win-now team, and they're probably going to get bounced early in the playoffs this year, I think. I think some other teams got better. I think the Hawks could probably take them in a series. Cleveland could beat them in a series. I mean, I know the Pacers are Andrew Riddle and Boston now, but for some reason, I need to see more of the Knicks proving they're good before every move they make is a win-now thing.
I agree with that. That's a great point you bring up with Mike Brown and Thibodeau. Kind of, they were in the Eastern Conference early on, both with transcendent stars, and both never really lived up to the high expectations that were around them. And this kind of just feels like a lateral move for them, where they were the 3rd best team in the Eastern Conference. They'll probably be the 3rd best team in the Eastern Conference again. And they probably won't have as many things break their way in the playoffs, and they'll end up being bounced in the 1st or 2nd round.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I just don't see where, I guess it's just the New York media and it's just the big name, bright lights thing. I just don't see where they're win now like a lot of people think they are. I think they're just staying status quo, I guess. But I do think other teams got better. But it seems Mike Brown was a hire just because of the name. I don't think there was many other options for the Knicks.
Yeah, it seemed like they were striking out. Michael Malone apparently wasn't interested, or the Knicks weren't interested in him. They never talked to Budenholzer. And then they had the Timberwolves top assistant as a finalist. They had James Borrego as a finalist, but he's kind of this young, unproven guy, and they didn't necessarily want that. But again, Mark Stein reporting that he'll likely come in as the top assistant for the Knicks, which could work. Maybe you get that kind of mind trust together with Brown and Borrego. But yeah, it's kind of a status quo move, a lateral move. And I think the Knicks aren't going to be able to continue the momentum. And now looking back at the firing of Thibodeau, knowing that it was going to end with Mike Brown, I don't think you fire Thibodeau. I really thought they were going to make a splashier hire, a more championship-driven hire. And for them, they didn't. Now, Mike Brown does, I mean, he unlocked a lot with De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis and what he did in Sacramento when he first got there. He did a lot with them. So maybe he can unlock this Knicks offense and get them rolling in a way that Thibodeau never really could. But, I mean, the issue wasn't necessarily offense last year. It's how to unlock Karl Anthony Towns as a defender, and that's going to be the key to Knicks' success next year.
Right. And lastly, don't you think the NBA has kind of gotten to the point with the NFL in terms of, it just seems like the coaches are just recycled. It's just like, I mean, it feels like their names are just recycled, just like the NFL coaching carousel. It's just, name switching teams. I mean, Mike Brown, was a thing 15 years ago, and he's still floating around as like top 10. It's just kind of funny to see.
It is funny to see. It seems like once you get a coaching job, you'll get, and you have any semblance of success, then you're going to get a couple more opportunities and then a couple more after that. I mean, he started his head coaching career in 2005, spent 5 years with the Cavs, 2 years with the Lakers, 2 years with the Cavs again, then was an associate head coach for 6 years with the Warriors, and then the Kings for 3 years. But yeah, it is funny. You just kind of get recycled. Once you've shown some success, the NBA is like, all right, it didn't work for them, but it could work for us. It could work for, we're different. And they convince themselves that they're different. And maybe they are, because Sacramento is a dumpster fire. And he did have a lot of success when he had talent around him in his first stint with Cleveland. But the Lakers were kind of a dumpster fire, and they had Kobe. The Cavaliers' second stint were kind of a dumpster fire when they were without LeBron. And then Sacramento was good enough, but then the front office. So maybe this is the one that finally hits, because as we all know, the Knicks have a very normal front office. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink.
Well, you have a good 4th of July. Thanks, Jack.
Thank you, Michael. You as well. There goes Michael. It doesn't spark joy. You know, Marie Kondo, when her whole organizing your life thing that she's got on Netflix, you throw it away if it doesn't spark joy. This one doesn't spark joy.
I gotta defend Mike just a little bit.
Okay, please. Yeah. I think he's a good enough coach. I just think you do not fire Thibodeau to then hire Mike Brown.
So here's the thing, though, and it's very cliche.
Okay,
but you hire guys like Mike Brown when you're an organization like the Knicks for the pedigree. Like, yeah, he has only coached one finals win, I think, but he's got 4 final championships under his belt as an assistant and as a coach. He has been to places that this organization can't say in the last 30 years
they want to go there.
Yeah. So he at least knows the way. He knows the blueprint. Worst case scenario, he comes in, he lays the foundation and gets you hopefully over the hump at least once. And if you move on, at least you have an idea now as an organization. This is what we need. This is how we get it done. This is where we need to go. But it's not. It's one of those things where I personally think, like, as a coach, I think he is better than Tibbs. I don't know if the percentages will always show that. He got to coach in better positions than Tibbs as well, because you talk about LeBron, and then you're on the bench assistant coaching with Steph Curry, and then that run.
Yeah.
However, in his times with teams, he's shown that he can coach with adjustments. He's an X and O guy. You've even made a couple statements implying that he has made players better when he's gotten there.
What he did with the Kings was really impressive. This last stint of head coaching, what he was able to do, because he's kind of known as that X's and O's defensive-minded guy, but he clearly learned something from the Golden State Warriors, because when he stepped in to Sacramento, they immediately got better offensively. They changed their offensive philosophy, and they went from a middle to back tiered NBA offense to the best NBA offense in 1 year with an 18-win jump.
And I'll give him credit too. Like, if you look at the teams he's worked with, the Cavs, the Lakers, the Warriors, and then the Kings, shows he's got versatility as a coach too. I think if anything,
big market, small market, medium market, yeah.
And with the talent that he's worked with the players, superstar athlete like LeBron, a system that's fluid like the Warriors, and then you come to the Kings, and they're not the biggest team, but you make them tougher and you make them more efficient. I think he can help the Knicks in that situation. And when you match him up against the coaches in the East, he can hold his own against all those guys. So you're not coming in with the guy that can be intimidated or with a lot of questions. It's like, all right.
I think that's the thing. I think coming into it, I really wanted Taylor Jenkins, because I think there's
I'm all about younger,
and I think there's an uncapped ceiling. Now the floor might be lower than Mike Brown. Mike Brown feels like a higher floor than Tibbs with a similar ceiling as Tibbs, which is why I'm kind of just like, But mainly it's that, and then the issue of, like, why did this take a month to figure out?
If you had 5 opportunities to get to the finals, and you had Tibbs and Mike Brown as a coach, who do you think gets there first?
I think Mike Brown gets there first.
That's good enough for the Knicks.
But I think in the end, they're both getting there 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, it's good enough for the Knicks. They just, like, their bar is probably just to get there at this point.
I would love to get Leon Rose or James Dolan or one of those decision makers in a room and be like, why did this take a month to figure out though? Because you weren't interviewing him first. Why were we trying to get Billy Donovan and Jason Kidd and all of these other sitting head coaches, Chris Finch? Why were we all trying that route before we even talked to Mike Brown? Why in the world did this take a month to figure out? Because now you've gone through the first wave of free agency. Granted, you probably weren't going to have a lot of money to spend in this first wave of free agency, but we've gone through it and we went through it captainless. And you've made a couple of moves without a coach there, which I just feel like is kind of a backwards way of thinking it, where maybe if they interviewed Mike Brown 3 weeks ago, right when they fired Tom Thibodeau and the season wrapped up for the Knicks, we could have had a more set plan in place. Who knows how Jordan Clarkson fits in to a Mike Brown-led team? He may have wanted Dorian Finney-Smith. He may have wanted Bruce Brown. He may have wanted Clint Capella. I don't know. Just that part of it seems a little backwards. And that's more on the Knicks than it is on Mike Brown. So it's unfair of me to be putting that onto Mike Brown. I will say that. I was wrong with that. That's more so on the Knicks being just a questionable franchise, which pains me because I thought they had their ish together.
No, it wouldn't be the Knicks if they had their stuff together.
You're right.
If they had their stuff together, they'd be like the Heat or something.
The Heatles, baby. All right, we're going to get a break in here. We'll step aside. Be back. A little news or snooze on this Thursday morning right here on Fitz the Bill.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. John always listens to his truck. So when his brakes start talking, he goes to AutoZone, where a helpful AutoZoner gets him the right parts. If John has time to put them in, he borrows a kit with Loan-A-Tool. And if he doesn't, he gets a free shop referral. No hassles, just help. Everything you need, nothing you don't. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Deposit required for Loan-A-Tool. Restrictions apply.
Some things can steal your sunshine. I just got my hair done.
Sorry, the cooler's broken. Anyone see my flip-flops? Anyone?
But COVID-19 can steal a lot more.
I just took a COVID test. Ugh.
Prescription medications for COVID exist. If you test positive this summer, ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com/COVID-19 to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
Find what you love and love what you find at Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you.
With the lowest prices for over 30 years, find what you love only at Total Wine and More. Drink responsibly, B21.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed. Oh, yeah? Yeah, he's starting with the whoops. Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
This is Joe and Q.
My son just graduated from Portland State. Right now, he's looking for a team overseas that he could play with. You think he wouldn't have picked up that phone that the Utah Jazz called? Look, I get it. Ace Bailey has earned the right to say that I can control my destiny. Obviously, my son didn't build that same resume, but be excited about your living out your dream. There's so many young men that when college ends, the dream is over.
Joe and Q, weekdays from noon to 3 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app. Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
We are one more average season by the numbers from Mahomes from having the conversation about who the best quarterback in the NFL is. If the Kansas City Chiefs find themselves in a situation where they're not in the AFC Championship game, then all of a sudden it's going to become a question of who the best quarterback in the NFL is.
Unsportsmanlike. Weekday morning starting at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ESPN2.
Weather reports on 106.1 ESPN Richmond, brought to you by Herman Allen Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, a premier Lennox dealer. Online at HermanAllenPlumbing.com.
1061 ESPN weather.
Looks like it's going to be a nice day ahead of us. Sunshine, a few clouds this afternoon, a high 91. Tonight, mostly clear skies, a low down to 70. Expect a sunny 4th of July tomorrow, high around 90. Right now, partly cloudy skies. It's 76 degrees.
The only local morning sports talk show here in the 804. Fitz the Bill with Jack Fitzpatrick. Live, local, and Richmond through and through. Weekdays, 8 to 10 a.m. on ESPN Richmond.
Welcome back in. Fitz the Bill rolling right along on this Thursday morning. We got a text in over the break. What's the definition of success next year for Mike Brown and the Knicks? If they don't make the Eastern Conference Finals, they have regressed. I will say they have regressed on paper if they don't make the Eastern Conference Finals. And if they don't make the Eastern Conference Finals, the fans are going to be up in arms and going to be very upset. However, the definition of success next year for Mike Brown and the Knicks is putting together a team that, one, doesn't fall apart late and they don't have their legs run off of them like they did with Tom Thibodeau. But I mean, it's playoff success. It's winning a playoff series and continue. And I know this is a really vague way to answer it, but it's continuing the momentum that Tom Thibodeau had built up. Because if Tom Thibodeau had returned, the expectation for next season wouldn't be Eastern Conference Finals or bust. It would have been another successful year that would result in playoff success, however that may be, however that kind of would unfold for them. They had a lot of lucky breaks this year to get to the Eastern Conference Finals. Let's call it what it is. They were lucky breaks. And so for Mike Brown, the main indicator of success is, do you continue the momentum and the culture that Thibodeau built up, and are you able to put it into success going into the playoffs and maybe winning a playoff series and showing that there is a future under Mike Brown? Would you agree?
I think that's a bit unfair to say, well, if they didn't get to the Eastern Conference Finals, it's a wasted season. It kind of depends. And again, you know, the path to get there should be a little bit easier, considering that we talked about some of the injuries that they've had. But it's year to year, man. So many things can change. I don't want to wish it on it, but what if Jalen Brunson goes down, right?
Exactly.
Then you got a different situation. What if Cat goes down? It'd be a different situation. So I would say with an asterisk, it would be regression, pending on obviously the health of the team.
Like, there's a very real shot with Mike Brown. They are a better basketball team this year than they are last year, than they were last year, but they may not make it as far as they did last year. Let's go out to the phone lines, 804-327-0888. Bruce is on line one. Good morning, Bruce. How you doing?
Good morning, Fitz. Good morning, Alan. Guys, be safe tomorrow. Traffic is crazy. And state police are in full effect. I hope y'all remember that term, full effect. Let me just say, New York has done what New York has done. I agree with Alan. You know, we got to watch. You know, I get the expectation is that they have to win a championship, but I think that may have been 1971 since Willis Reed led the Knicks to a championship. So 1972, 1973, I was 5-6 years of age. So it's been a minute. So, you know, and Philadelphia is going to be good next year, y'all. I know y'all laughing at me. Bruce, this has nothing to do about your 76ers. But
I'm not laughing at you, Bruce. I'm praying for you.
Look,
yeah,
it always has to do with the 76ers. I get it.
No. Last year it didn't. This year, this coming year will.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. VJ Edgecombe, I love VJ Edgecombe. I'll buy in a little bit.
Okay, but let's be real, guys. Last Friday, we said on this show, and I know y'all are going to say, Bruce, how did you jump to that tangent? We said on this show, clutch sports. I get what New York has done, but there is a bigger move coming in the association.
LeBron to New York. LeBron to New York.
Maybe in the next couple of days, guys. I'm telling y'all.
Bruce, I'm so glad you brought that up. I had a whole conspiracy theory planned out. I thought it was a little too far, But I think this Mike Brown hiring signals that LeBron's coming to New York in the next week.
I'm telling you, they're clutch sports, guys. Yeah, we sleeping. We sleeping. And so just watch what happens, because it's going to be on Sports Center for 2 straight rolls. And when I mean rolls, I mean days. So when you take roll in the morning and everyone says present, the topic is going to be LeBron has moved. LeBron has moved. And so just watch what happens. I just think the NBA holds some type of ace in this clutch sports. It's Rich Paul. So look, guys, be safe tomorrow. Remember that Virginia State Police is in full effect.
I love it. Thank you so much, Bruce. Have a happy 4th of July. You stay safe as well. We'll catch up with you next week.
State police in effect every day, Bruce.
Look.
I take Poe White here.
he gave me the lob. You ready for this conspiracy? It's not really a conspiracy.
It's not a conspiracy. If it's attention grabbing, LeBron's on it, man. That's where he's at in his career right now.
Look, Leon Rose was LeBron's agent from 2005 until 2012. He was LeBron's agent. He worked with Rich Paul. Rich Paul and Leon Rose have a good relationship. Mike Brown's most success.
I got my hand raised.
Came. I got you. Okay. 1 second. Mike Brown's most success came with LeBron James. Look, maybe a little Mikal Bridges in there. throw him over for LeBron. Maybe a draft pick. No, I'm trying to. There's another. Mitchell Robinson. Maybe you throw him in there.
What would he do?
What do the Lakers need? What do the Lakers need?
They just got their starting big man.
DeAndre ain't miss me with all that. DeAndre ain't no starting big man.
He's definitely their starting big man.
Yeah, not until they trade for Mitchell Robinson.
And he would still be the starting.
No, Mitchell Robinson is
DeAndre Ayton's attitude is not going to allow him to come off the bench. That would be a disaster.
Okay, well then Mitchell Robinson will be getting more minutes in DeAndre.
That's fine. I'm just letting you know who the starting five is.
The Knicks are making moves. Who knows? Maybe the Lakers buy LeBron out. There's a lot of different things, but the Knicks are positioning themselves to make a splashy LeBron move here in the next week.
And you leave yourself with JJ Redick and Luka.
Sounds like a good little 2-man core with me.
Sounds like a waste of time. Seriously, like what was the whole? You could have, if you were the Lakers, you should have just brought Mike Brown to your team. Like, why would you?
Well, he was under contract last year. He couldn't have interviewed for that job.
They could have fired JJ and brought him in. I think
JJ is a good coach.
All right,
that was a longer silence.
Well, I don't think there's been enough evidence right now. I don't want to judge the guy on his first year,
which is why you couldn't fire him after the first year.
You could, because the NBA is crazy like that.
Okay, fair.
Especially this past year, but you shouldn't. I just feel like that's just kind of crazy. The lure for New York is the market and
the fact LeBron
and Madison Square, and the fact that I think every player, even Jordan, probably would have loved to have played or made New York their home, because again, if you're the king of New York, like sports, I don't think it gets any better than that to own that market.
I think I think there's a lot of the things shown. LeBron almost went to New York when he decided on Miami with the decision that there was that. He's been flirting with New York for quite some time.
I don't think he would have picked Mike Brown though. Even if they have a relationship, I don't think that changed.
Who would he have showed? Frank Vogel, David Blatt, Ty Lue?
Didn't he get a ring with Vogel?
Yeah.
The ring that you call valid. I mean,
it is a valid ring.
Right, well, then maybe he also
got a ring with. Did he get the ring with David Blatt, or did he get it with Ty Lue?
It was Lue, I believe.
Okay,
because he got Blatt up out there. But either way, I just think that's kind of a roundabout way for New York to go about it. Like they should have. In my mind, you pick up LeBron, you make the trade, and then LeBron comes in and handpicks the coach.
Yeah,
not this roundabout way of.
So I just said there's a lot of connections. We got a texter, and only way LeBron to the Knicks works cap apron wise is if you throw Cat in the deal. Honestly, why would the Knicks do that?
I agree with you.
Look, there's also the potential that there's a buyout involved. There's some different ways that this can work. There's a lot of weird free agent cap trade stuff, trade exceptions, things like that. I'm just saying.
But you threw Mikal Bridges in there, that ain't gonna get it done.
Mikal Bridges, Mitchell Robinson, and 2 picks.
No, that ain't gonna get it done. Absolutely not. Look, and I'm with the text. You got to come up off of.
I'm gonna use my hated trade finder and try to figure out a trade for this. we'll play around with it. I'm just saying,
do that during the break.
Like,
And
when
let me know if you can figure out a way that Cat's not involved.
Look, I'm doing the win horse finger pointing thing. What does this mean? I just want to say real quick though, I have a soundbite of Mike Brown here, and this is what the Knicks are getting. This is what the Knicks are getting.
Just need to be methodical by stacking or playing the right way, possession after 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 possession.
This is a 39-second clip.
Oh, did he do that himself?
Yes.
Oh,
This is him post game.
That's funny. Look, Mike Brown's a good coach, man. He knows what he's doing. At the end of the day, you got to get the results.
It's still going.
I would imagine.
Wait, put it back up.
After possession. You guys got what I'm saying.
That's great. But I was gonna say for him, come in and maximize the 2-man game. Similar to what the texter was saying, like, why would you do that? Like, why would you build a team around one player in today's NBA? Because that's all you're gonna have if you get LeBron. Because all you had in Brunson, he can't play off the ball with LeBron dominating the ball, and he's not the right point guard.
If Cat had to be included in the deal, I would also agree that LeBron to the Knicks would not be a smart move by New York. But if there's another way around it to pretend, and look, I'm going to be 100% honest. I'm not a GM in the NBA. Even the best NBA beat writers hardly understand how this whole cap stuff works in the NBA. I'm just saying, if there is a way to get LeBron to New York, the back channels are being worked between Leon Rose and Rich Paul. That's it. Right.
Also, just real quick, because it was something you said, when I raised my hand. Who doesn't have a relationship with Rich Paul at this point? He's got like every player. So that's also irrelevant to me. Like, everybody's probably got a good relationship.
Well, yeah,
with
but Leon Rose and Rich Paul were like friends. Okay. Rich Paul
they got a secret handshake.
Rich Paul worked literally right under Leon Rose was Rich Paul's boss at CAA.
Okay.
And so then Leon Rose represented LeBron, just the kind of backstory of Leon Rose and a big reason why he got this job in 2020 with the New York Knicks. He was Rich Paul before Rich Paul became Rich Paul, right? Like, he was this big name agent, represented LeBron, worked with Rich Paul. Then when Rich Paul left to start Clutch Sports in 2012, he took LeBron with him. So LeBron left Chris Rose. Who's Chris Rose? Left Leon Rose to go with Rich Paul and Clutch Sports, but they're friend. Leon Rose
friends after that.
Leon Rose also represents Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd be friends with you if you took my best money player. All right, that's cool. And I guess we'll see how it plays out. We'll probably have like a week or so before that happens. You think?
I would say
they probably get it done before Summer League.
Yeah, we'll probably. I would say we would know what is happening in the next week. The news will break within the next week.
And they also, when he restructured or bought into his deal or opted in, there was some concessions made to allow him to be tradable if needed. So.
And that was, but then I did want to talk about this, and we'll talk about in hour number 2. I will say I've taken some time in a darkness retreat. I've done the Aaron Rodgers prescribed ayahuasca. I'm going to need LeBron to come clean about one thing and one thing only.
His love for attention.
It's not about winning a championship. Stop saying that. It's all about the money.
It's all about the attention.
It's all about the attention and the money. Like, let's just own up to it. If this was about winning a championship, you know what he would have done? He would have opted out of his contract, making him a free agent. He opted in because he wanted the $56 million and then wanted to strong arm the Lakers into doing what he wants. But newsflash to LeBron, he's not 25. He's not 35. He's 40. You can't strong arm anyone. All right, coming up, hour number 2, a lot of NASCAR. So keep it locked right here. Rev your engines and keep it going with us.
Hey, it's Delvin Joyce, JMU Hall of Famer and former New York Giant. And listen, make sure you tune in to Talkin' Dukes every Wednesday on 106.1 ESPN Richmond. Go Dukes.
Amber, Indiana.
Yeah, 7 is no place for a baby. Let the baby to bed. It's Amber. It's 9 o'clock at night. Let the baby get some sleep.
There are no clocks when it comes to Game 7. Okay, we don't care that it's 9:30 at night and your kid's still awake. It's Game 7. You've got to show up. It's do or die. This is for all the apples.
Routine, Amber.
The routine has to go out the window.
Amber, Indiana. Weeknights at 7 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on Sirius XM Channel 80. Hey, did you miss Clinton and friends?
Dad's in Minneapolis. What's up? You're on the show.
All right, Yates and the homies. Love listening to the show. This is going to be my new show. I tune in to Freddie and Harry a lot, but I love Yates and the homies, Clinton and the friends. Y'all got my number.
Renaming the show.
Clinton and the homies.
I like that we stole them from
Freddie
and Harry.
Listen, I'm going to have to report back to Shannon on that. He might not be one too pleased.
Might have to make some promos.
Clinton and friends. Weekdays from 10 to noon Eastern on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app. This is Joe and Q.
My son just graduated from Portland State. Right now, he's looking for a team overseas that he can play with. You think he wouldn't have picked up that phone that the Utah Jazz called? Look, I get it. Ace Bailey has earned the right to say that I can control my destiny. Obviously, my son didn't build that same resume, but be excited about your living out your dream. There's so many young men that when college ends, the dream is over.
Joe and Q. Weekdays from noon to 3 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app. This is Freddie and Harry.
This could be the best situation for a number 1 draft pick to ever step in the NBA. Not saying Dallas will be a championship team immediately, but if everybody's healthy and everybody is right, Cooper Flag does not have to worry about having that kind of pressure to lead the way. In 2 years, this will be his team. He can make a difference from day one, but in 2 years, this will be his franchise.
Check out more from Freddie and Harry weekdays at 3 Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
Your home for the Atlanta Braves. Catch every pitch and homer on W291CL Lakeside Richmond and WURV HD2 Richmond. Braves baseball lives on 106.1 ESPN.
You're listening to the second hour of Fitz the Bill on 106.1 ESPN.
Welcome in to hour number 2 of Fitz the Bill on this Thursday. Well, it's a Friday for us here inside the ESPN Richmond studios. No show tomorrow as we celebrate the 4th of July. We'll be back on Monday, but we've still got a whole hour left with you on this morning, and it is a NASCAR jam-packed hour number 2. Pat Jaggers from the Motor Racing Network is joining us. Lori Warren, the Richmond Raceway track president, is joining us on this Thursday morning in just about 30 minutes as well. So very excited to talk with them and keep things rolling with NASCAR as NASCAR heads to the Chicago Street Course this weekend. And just want to let you guys know as well, before we get too far along into hour number 2, that today, Thursday, coming out to Ashton Creek Vineyard, 4 to 6 p.m. Hang out, have some delicious Virginia wine, and kick off the holiday weekend the right way. We'll be there from 4 until 6 p.m., getting ready to kick off what they have coming up this weekend with their new summer concert series, which is on Sunday. It's over at their sister location, Riverside Vines, and you can check out their entire summer concert series schedule at Riverside_Vines on Instagram. You can get the latest on their summer concert series and everything else they got going on at Riverside Vines. But in the meantime, come on down to Ashton Creek Vineyard today from 4 until 6 p.m. for an awesome little happy hour, some live music, and kick off the holiday weekend the right way. And we're going to head out to the phone lines because Pat Jaggers is joining us from the Motor Racing Network. It feels like it's been quite some time since we caught up with Pat because of the way schedules have worked out over the last couple of weeks. So, Pat, it's great to have you back on this Thursday morning.
It's great to be back and to be back home in NASCAR's headquarters in Charlotte, North Carolina. We had a fun weekend at Lime Rock Park up in Connecticut, but glad to be back home and ready for NASCAR to take on the streets of Chicago.
Yeah, I mean, we got a Chicago street race. NASCAR's added some street races over the last couple of years. This is year 3 of Chicago, right?
It is year 3 of the Chicago Street Course. Now, previously we were at Chicagoland from 2001 to 2021. This is NASCAR's third visit to the streets of Chicago.
Man, so we had Shane Van Gisbergen win year one. Alex Bowman won it last year.
That is correct.
Who do you think's winning it this year? I'm just going to throw you right into the deep end, right at the start.
I mean, it's hard to go against Shane Van Gisbergen after the display of racing he put on in Mexico. It's just really hard to pick and go against him. But I think the thing that most people are really talking about right now when you look at storylines in the sport is the in-season tournament, the bracket challenge. And he's not in it. He was not top 30 in points before it started, but the stretch of racing really lined up for a guy like him to come in and have a lot of success. The funny thing is he would have gotten eliminated last week if he had made it with his performance at Atlanta. That was an absolute thriller of an event. And now you have an absolute wild card bracket. Like if you're a March Madness fan, you've got so many lower seeds that have advanced to the Sweet 16. You're looking at potentially having like a few double-seeded guys maybe make the Elite Eight and Final Four, if not a double-seeded guy go to the championship. So it's been a lot of fun to watch. It's been a very simple gimmick that they've done where each week they say, look, go out and beat one driver. You have a chance at $1 million once you get to Indianapolis.
It is really funny looking at the NASCAR in-season challenge because Denny Hamlin got ousted by the final racer to make it in Ty Dillon. Keselowski beat Kyle Busch. That was a 16-17 matchup if we're doing it that way. Briscoe got ousted by Noah Gragson. I mean, a lot of the top seeds, the quote-unquote top seeds, didn't even make it out of Atlanta.
No, and that's why it was so interesting having that race as the first event of the in-season challenge. Because now you go to Chicago, another wild card race where the guy that's been the best there when you think about qualifying and winning and having speed, it's Shane Van Gisbergen, but he's not even in the bracket. So just looking at this week, Jack, it's going to be really interesting. A lot of matchups I like. I think the one guy no one's talking about is Alex Bowman. I think that the reigning winner, he's had a lot of speed over the last month, and that's what's been great about this challenge. These seedings were based off of recent performance, right? We don't really see that a lot. Like they try to do it with the NCAA tournament. They look at the whole body of work, but what I've loved about this bracket was they gave you 3 races, and how you performed over those 3 races was how you were seeded. And when you look at it, it's been pretty consistent. I mean, John Hunter Nemechek has been literally one of the hottest drivers in the sport. Not a good finish last week, but previously leading up to that, you just think about some of the guys that are going to have an opportunity to kind of make some noise this week and next, and even going into Dover and Indy. It's not who you think. You've got Eric Jones and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. still in this thing. I wouldn't be shocked at all if John Hunter Nemechek surpassed Chase Elliott with the speed they've had. It's going to be really interesting to kind of see how this thing plays out. And I think people are going to be really shocked by the Final Four we have once we kind of get to Dover. And, obviously we get to Indy. There's no telling who's going to be in the championship. But right now, if I were going to give you 2 drivers I like to at least make the Final Four with their route, I really do like Alex Bowman's, and other guys I like Chris Buescher, just based off how they would have to get to the championship. Now, if you're looking for a long shot as it stands right now, give me A.J. Allmendinger to make the Final Four. Yeah, I mean, that's a long shot. He'd have to get through Buescher, but when we look at how things lay the next couple of weeks, AJ is a great road course racer. So is Ty Gibbs, though. He's got to get past Ty Gibbs. If he has a great finish in Chicago, AJ could have a great finish in Sonoma. And guess what? He's in the Final Four as we get to the round of 4 in Dover. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this thing plays out. And I just love that there's a wild card factor. And it's really great for the fans for the most part.
Pat Jaggers from the Motor Racing Network joining us on this Thursday morning. Pat, I do want to turn our attention a little bit to off the track with the news that came out this week about Daniel Suarez and Trackhouse deciding that they will part ways at the end of the season. Really not a traditional breakup. You don't see this happen all that often where the driver and the team essentially mutually agree to part ways.
It's really interesting. What I can kind of say publicly on this is that I think from a fan's perspective and those that kind of aren't in the know of how kind of the different cultures are with different race teams would say that wow, this is shocking. Daniel's had a lot of success with him. It's been a hell of an era for Daniel Suarez in Trackhouse Racing. Also, one of their co-owners is of Hispanic descent, and Pitbull, Mr. Worldwide, 305. Like it's one of those things where when I think about this from the outside looking in, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. But if you're Daniel Suarez, I think that, I'll just put it quite blunt. I really think that seeing him have success in the Xfinity Series and seeing him, still be a driver that can go out there and win races at a high level in that Xfinity Series, I think gives him a ton of value. He went out there and whooped the NASCAR Xfinity Series in his hometown of Mexico, in Mexico, and when NASCAR was in Mexico City. So I think that Daniel's brand and really, I'll be honest. I mean, when we talk to other drivers and you talk to people around the team, he's got the sponsorship, man. He's got the money to kind of stay relevant and get a cup ride. But the thing is, I do think that, I was talking to one of our guys and he's very close with Daniel. He's been texting back and forth in the last few days. Daniel's very confident about his career, whether it be the NASCAR Cup Series, the Xfinity Series. A ride for him isn't a question. At least when you talk to Daniel Suarez, the confidence is there that he's going to have a ride next season. I don't know if it's going to be the Cup Series. It could be the Xfinity Series, but I think this is about Daniel Suarez wanting to be competitive, wanting to be happy. I think that from the outside looking in, I think that a lot of people thought that he was very happy there, but you don't ever know until you talk to somebody. And I think that not every owner and driver always see eye to eye on things. And I think that Daniel's at a point where he just has a different opinion on how he wants to do things with his career moving forward.
So now with that ride opening up for next year, do you think, they've got Connor Zilch, the Trackhouse Racing kind of has Connor Zilch off in the wings waiting. Is he the guy that you expect to fill that role? Or do you think they'll go out and maybe get another driver out there to fill the 99?
I think this is a decision, Jack, that doesn't need to be made the next week. I think a lot of people
Pat, that's not fun. It's talk radio. We got to make the decisions immediately.
Well, sometimes you got to let the cake bake. And I'll tell you right now, Zillich, when you're thinking about the cake, this thing is halfway cooked, man. It's still a little doughy. You could put it back in the oven and really let this thing finish, and you know what? It's got a lot of moisture to it, but it's got a little too much moisture. You need a little bit drier. So let the cake bake on Connor Zillich a little bit more. And here's why. This is a young kid, guys. He's 19 years old. Connor has been absolutely phenomenal and on the road courses. We saw he finally got a win on an oval. That's good for him. And it wasn't a super speedway race. That's fine. In Pocono, but I think that when you think about the body of work for Connor Zillich, at least get through the rest of the season and kind of see how he's doing. The last thing you want to do is put him in a situation like Ty Gibbs, where you throw him in a car and he just absolutely struggles for countless races. Ty Gibbs at one point was, I think he had like a 20 race streak where he couldn't finish in the top 10. And I think a lot of those were DNS and really outside the top 25. I don't want to see him come in and be overwhelmed. And I think you have to put these guys in situations to succeed. And some would say, you know what, Pat, let him go through the humps now. Let him take some of the negative things that might come with being a Cup driver. I think Connor Zillich, I truly believe that he is a once in a lifetime talent. I don't think he's ready to go into Cup and really set the world on fire. We don't really see that anymore for 19-year-olds. We thought we would see it with Christopher Bell, William Byron, Chase Elliott, all those guys. We thought it would see it were generational talented guys, and it took them a long time to figure it out. Look how long it took Ryan Blaney to figure it out, man. It took him a very long time. His first win came in 2017, and then after that, it took him, 7 years to win a championship? It takes these guys a long time to figure it out now. Like coming in and setting the world on fire like Casey Kane, Ryan Newman, Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon, like those guys did back in the day. Those were different times in a different car.
Yeah, Pat Jaggers from the Motor Racing Network joining us on this Thursday morning. Pat, I want to turn the attention back to on the track because we have the Chicago Street Race this weekend. We also had the Mexico City race, and it seems like NASCAR trying to do a little bit more of these street races as they build out their schedules in the upcoming years. Do you know why, or what are your thoughts on why NASCAR is starting to add more street races into their schedule?
It's the car. I mean, honestly, it's the way this car races on the road courses. I mean, and also that was the whole point of designing this vehicle, was to give them more options when it comes to the type of courses they could go to. Because you look at the old car, it was extremely heavy. It didn't exactly race well on the road courses. It was just your typical stock car. Now, this thing, from the get-go, they said was going to be able to take on more contact with the body, which is correct. It was able to really be a car that can move, right? It's still really heavy, but it moves a lot better than what the older car did. So I think when you look at from the inception of the next-gen car, when it made its debut in NASCAR in 2022, the whole point of having a car that was different than what we had and really more of I don't want to say a hybrid of a sports car and a stock car, but they wanted to put some sports car elements into this stock car so they could do sports car things like drive on road courses and street courses. And I'll tell you one thing right now, from what I'm hearing, there's going to be a new street course on the schedule next season. So it's going to be interesting to kind of see how all this plays out moving forward. But that was the whole point of the next gen car, was to design a vehicle that would allow them to have flexibility when it comes to scheduling.
I like it. Now just got to figure out how to get the next gen car back to the ability to race on short tracks like Richmond at an extremely high level, but it's doing everything else pretty well. And the street races are a lot of fun. Pat, before we let you go, as always, got to get your pick to win. I know you kind of teased it earlier, but your official pick to win at the Chicago Street Race this weekend.
Yeah, look, it's really hard for me to go against Shane Van Gisbergen. I just think until somebody shows that they can go out there and beat him, that's my pick. I do like some other drivers in this weekend's field. I mean, Alex Bowman, you look like the kind of the bracket challenge, that he really stands out to me. They've had speed over the last month. I like Alex in this race. I think that, if Shane Van Gisbergen, though, gets the pole jack and he's got a lot of clean air in front of him,
it's over.
I think that, that's the thing here. If that guy gets the pole and he gets out front early on, he's going to be a problem. Now, last year he didn't win the pole, and it was a hurdle for him, and he got into some trouble trying to get to the front, right? So you never know what could happen, but if he gets the pole jack, it's over. And then and people could say, Pat, you know what? Like, that's a long race, but look at Mexico City, man. The guy got out front. All he had to do was cross his T's, dot his I's, and race to his strengths, and really just not make mistakes and stay out front. And that's all it really took. But also some other people I like when you look at just the entry list here. I mean, we've got some other guys that people aren't used to kind of seeing in this race. Corey Heim, if you're looking for a long shot to finish in the top 10, that's one I like today. If you're looking for a good prop bet, also Will Brown, who's going to be running in this race for Colleague Racing. He's a supercars ace. Maybe he goes in to this event and kind of sets the world on fire. Well, it's yet to be seen. I don't know if Colleague will have that kind of speed. If AJ Allmendinger is fast, then I expect Will Brown to be fast in practice. So at least on Sunday with the race. But that's just kind of how things stand. It's going to be interesting. The bracket challenge has been a lot of fun for fans and listeners. If you guys have filled out your bracket challenge, good luck this weekend. It's already been chaotic in round one. I can only imagine what it's going to be in round two.
Yeah, people talk about the difficulty to create a perfect NCAA tournament bracket. I think the NASCAR in-season challenge bracket is 100 times more difficult. Just seeing Denny Hamlin, the 1 seed, and Chase Briscoe, the 2 seed, go down in the first round. You don't see those types of upsets in March Madness. Pat, where can people listen to the race this weekend?
You can catch us local time, NASCAR Live Race Day this Sunday at 1 o'clock for the 3rd annual Grant Park 165. It's going to be a lot of fun. NASCAR Live Race Day. It always comes at you with a great pre-race show, about an hour long. And after that, we should have a green flag, I think, locally around, I want to say 2:17, 2:23 around that time. But once again, make sure you guys check out the Motor Racing Network. And I say it each and every week, if you guys have Sirius XM, you're listening on the stream, whatever it may be, if you have YouTube TV, sync up the race broadcast or the radio broadcast, and you'll never go back.
I love it, Pat. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend. Enjoy your 4th of July down there in the Queen City, the true Queen City.
Yep, you as well. Thanks. Bye.
There goes Pat of the Motor Racing Network. Appreciate his time, everything that he's doing with the Motor Racing Network, and giving us the insights into the Chicago Street Course this weekend. We're going to take a quick break, be back with more Fitz the Bill on this Thursday, July 3rd morning, right here on 106.1 ESPN.
This July 4th, the dogs are hot and the steaks are hotter. Parlay Bar and Lounge's second annual hot dog eating contest kicks off at noon. Winner takes home $500 cash. 3117 West Lee Street in Scott's Addition. Get hungry, Richmond.
Parlay Bar and Lounge, 3117 West Lee Street. Traffic reports on 106.1 ESPN Richmond, brought to you by Herman Allen Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, a premier Lennox dealer. Online at hermanallenplumbing.com.
This is a special notice to U.S. taxpayers owing $10,000 or more to the IRS. Tax Relief Advocates is urgently notifying taxpayers that tax relief initiatives are now available that may significantly reduce or eliminate what you owe. If you're afraid of an IRS lien, levy, or wage garnishment, don't lose hope. You can now take advantage of these current relief programs to end all collections, reduce the amount you owe, and resolve your tax problem. Even if you have years of unfiled tax returns or are already in a payment plan, you may still qualify for significant relief. Struggling taxpayers can now get relief they need during these hard economic times. A hotline has been established by Tax Relief Advocates for you to call and see what you qualify for. They are A+ rated with the BBB and have over 1,000 5-star reviews. Don't wait. Call 800-575-7147. 800-575-7147. That's 800-575-7147, or simply visit TRA.com.
Must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was going to unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet, find all the parts you need at prices you'll love, guaranteed to fit every time. You already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Horse racing is back, and it's time to get ready for another Triple Crown season. Get the latest from the industry every Saturday morning from 10 to 11 with Off to the Races on 106.1 ESPN. Presented by The Racing Biz. Nick Hahn and Frank Vespi bring you their insight and knowledge, talking with the people making the headlines, including jockeys, trainers, and owners. Plus, get the expert picks each week, including a visit by Derby Bill Watson. It's Off to the Races each Saturday morning at 10 on 106.1 ESPN. Streaming live on the iHeartRadio app.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
I think success in year 2 for Caleb Williams is them making the playoffs. The Chicago Bears need to make the playoffs this year. And I know on the surface that might seem a little harsh because it is only year 2 of Caleb Williams. It's year 1 with him and Ben Johnson. But success looks like them taking a step forward. They need to get to the playoffs this year.
Unsportsmanlike. Weekday morning starting at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ESPN2.
Border to Border with Matt Josephs on 106.1 ESPN. Your daily 3 to 4 p.m. pit stop for unfiltered sports takes, statewide debate, and no-holds-barred analysis. Richmond's game, Matt's lane. Don't miss it.
Welcome back into Fitz the Bill on this Thursday, July 3rd morning. I'm Jack Fitzpatrick. Alan on the other side of the glass. Haven't said that one in a while. Appreciate Pat for stopping by from the Motor Racing Network. Chat with us about the Chicago Street Course race that's coming up this Sunday. Lori Warren will be joining us, the Richmond Raceway Track president, in just a couple of minutes as well. Before we do that, do want to take a quick little detour away from NASCAR, bring it back to the NBA a little bit, because we talked about at the end of hour number 1 about LeBron and how I've come to terms with the fact that, all right, maybe he is the GOAT at 2 things. Maybe he's the GOAT at 2 things, right, Alan? He's the GOAT at basketball, and he's the GOAT at wanting attention. I'll be there to say that. He talks this big game about wanting to win a championship and how it's always about winning a championship, and that's his end goal, but it's not. It's about being in the headlines, and it's about money. This is all about money and what LeBron James is doing. Could he find his way to New York? Yeah. You know, it would have been a lot easier to find his way to New York if he didn't opt into his deal. If he had opted out of his deal, you know what he would have become? A free agent. And you know what free agents can do, right? They can sign whatever contract they want with whatever team they want. Instead, he opted into his deal, which is a little less money than if he had just reworked the deal to take the max extension, which is 15% of the cap or whatever that is. So he quote unquote saved the Lakers a little bit of money by opting in, but you opted in. So now you are under contract for the 25-26 season with the Los Angeles Lakers. You also hold a no trade clause in that contract, which means you do get to choose where you go next if they decide to trade you. But we're on July 3rd. We've gone through that first wave of free agency. There's not a lot of teams out there with enough cap room to wiggle in a $56 million player like LeBron James. So let's just be honest. LeBron, you want to win. We all want to win, but you need that money. That's why we're opting in. You need that money, and you are making Rich Paul keep you in the headlines with things leaking out every couple of days. And now with this being held over the Los Angeles Lakers' head, it makes their entire offseason even more weird because, I mean, this LeBron question is looming over the team for so long. It's just very odd.
Struggling with the reality. You guys are the diva.
Hey, as long as he's a GOAT player, I'm okay with him being a diva.
Well, it's more debatable that he's a GOAT player than it is he's a diva.
All right. We don't need the shots coming there from the other side.
This is the perfect time to throw shots. He's at the tail end of his career.
Can we talk about something real quick?
What's up?
Rob Pelinka's also not a good GM.
He's not. He's only there because he was Kobe's friend.
Yeah.
We get that.
Which is why LeBron should go to New York because he would be friends with Leon Rose.
Hey, look, if it works out that way and he turns Leon Rose into the next Pelinka, I won't judge him either.
I know that Rob Pelinka's having to deal with LeBron, and he's been having to deal with LeBron, and that in and of itself is not easy. Not a lot of GMs last this long with LeBron James as their star player, right?
Not a lot of GMs or coaches last. You're right.
They've gone through their coaches. Who have they had since he's been there? Frank Vogel. They won the championship with Vogel.
Staff, right?
Did they have?
Ham. It was Ham.
Darvin Ham. Yeah. Oh, I forgot about him. And then into JJ Redick. Was there a coach before Vogel? I feel like there may have been, but I mean, he's gone through his coaches in LA. But shout out Rob Pelinka for sticking around because it's not often a GM gets to stick around with LeBron. But this offseason,
Luke Walton.
That's right. Jeez, yeah. Oh my God. This offseason, though, has just been another example of Rob Pelinka and the Los Angeles Lakers front office being like, why do you let Dorian Finney-Smith go to bring in Jake LaRavia? Did you know who Jake LaRavia was?
Well, look,
last week?
If we're being honest, one thing about the Lakers, they're kind of a nepo franchise, right? They didn't. Be honest, they were not run like a true powerhouse franchise. They didn't spend a lot of money.
They're kind of the Cowboys of the NBA.
Yeah, essentially, that's what it's like. But now with the Dodgers ownership group, I'm saying group, but I'm assuming it's a group. Now with them coming in, people who actually are willing to spend, test that luxury cap a little bit, maybe things will change. But like the Buss family, they made well on
real estate.
Yeah, real estate, and just some of those deals, man. Jerry West was just an ultimate finesser.
Yeah, I mean,
like he just got good deals. It was weird.
They got good deals, and then also looking at the Lakers, like that is the issue, right? Like their wealth is because of the Los Angeles Lakers, very similar to the Dallas Cowboys. Their wealth is because of the Cowboys. Now, Jerry Jones, of course, got his wealth, I think, in oil.
Yeah,
but since then, it's more so now the wealth is in the Cowboys.
The brand, yeah,
is in the brand. So It is tough to pay that luxury tax because you just don't have $300 million sitting around to pay the league in that tax.
Yeah.
So I get it. But
because if they were the Celtics, like you saw how they paid everybody once they won their championship.
Yes.
Now they're cutting ties now.
Yeah.
But that's because Tatum got injured.
But if Tatum was healthy, they run it back.
They'd be right there.
And the Lakers just can't do that, which just so funny that because of that, you're now stuck in a corner where you have to get Jake LaRavia and DeAndre Ayton, and you're like, this is a success.
My favorite was the graphic that said that it was like the 2017 top 3 picks or something like that were on the Lakers. And it was like Ayton, Bagley, who we didn't even know was on the team. And
Marvin Bagley's on the Lakers?
I guess. I mean, they said the top 3.
All right.
I was like, all right,
They may have signed him in free agency.
I shouldn't just take them for their word on a meme, but I was like, all right, cool.
All right. What a world.
Yeah.
All right. Good for Marvin Bagley. So, yeah, they got their big situation figured out. Good for them. DeAndre Ayton and Marvin Bagley the third.
No, I see. Google still says he's on the Grizzlies.
Grizzlies?
Yeah. But I swear that meme said it was the top 3.
Yo, Marvin Bagley in 2K, when he was a rookie, when we didn't know he sucked yet, he was a problem in 2K.
I think the league did him dirty.
Really? Who did he even get drafted by? The Kings?
I believe so. I think they messed up his development, which is it's easy to do in the NBA.
That seems to be a very common theme
with a lot of people. Yeah,
with a lot of people.
Yeah.
Markelle Fultz, they messed up his shot, as J. Cole said in his great song.
I mean, they did.
Was it My Life? Is that the song? Messed up his shot.
That's a good off-season question. Like, what would be the hardest league to cut your teeth in as a top pick? NFL, NBA, or Major League Baseball?
I think there's so many different things around it where, like, in the MLB, you're cutting your teeth in the minor leagues, but you're given the grace to be bad. In the NFL, if you land in a good situation, then you're able to maybe develop a little bit quicker. At the NBA, it feels like if you're not doing well, even if it is a good situation, they're like, we got to change your shot. We got to do this. I would say probably the toughest one is the NBA. I would say the NBA is the toughest one.
I think so too, just because you don't get the luxury of waiting. I feel like we give rookies time in the NFL.
We give them like 2 seasons. In the NBA,
you get at least 2-3 seasons. In Major League Baseball, you obviously get an extended period of time.
Yeah.
But in NBA, man, like
Zachary Rashare, the Atlanta Hawks #1 overall pick.
Don't get me trying to say the names.
Yeah. I mean, they're already saying he's a bust, and he's been in the league for 1 year. Yeah. Granted, he wasn't that good coming in, but whatever. See? All right, let's go to the phone lines. We are joined now on this Thursday morning by Lori Warren, the Richmond Raceway track president, as we keep this NASCAR theme going in hour number 2 on this Thursday, July 3rd, the day before the 4th. Lori, thank you so much for taking some time out of your morning to chat with us.
Of course, and happy early 4th to you guys. It's going to be a great weekend weather-wise, it looks like, and we're really excited here that we get to kick off the next 44 days to race. So the lots of fours going around there. July 4th and 44 days.
I love it. I mean, yeah, we're just over a month away. How are preparations coming for the race at Richmond?
Oh gosh, we have, pun intended, been gearing up almost since the day that we finished last August. That whole saying, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. Man, we are ready. We are so excited. Of course, we're putting a lot of the finishing touches on the track. We've got some asphalt going down, but not on the track, so don't everyone get excited about that. It's elsewhere around the property. We've got signage and, of course, lots of event experience builds going on, and the weeks and days to come, you'll see this place really come alive. And you probably know, I know a lot of your listeners already know, that it's not just about the day of August 16th at 7:30 at night where the race happens, but we actually have a lot of our fans move onto the property on Tuesday of race week. We have a little more than 1,000 campsites here. And so we prepare it like it's a miniature city. So we're gearing up for that. It's going to be so fun. And we're excited to be able to bring this back to the Commonwealth.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, it's a full weekend of events, trucks, Xfinity Series, all of that. More than just the night of Saturday, excuse me. Got to get used to saying Saturday now. It's more than just the night of Saturday. It's the whole weekend of racing. If you can, this is me giving the plug of it. If you can get tickets and get off of work for the truck race and the Xfinity race, those are some of the best races. I love the Cup Series. I will be in attendance at the Cup Series. But those truck races and Xfinity races, those are some of the most fun and just high stakes racing you'll watch.
Absolutely. You're exactly right. And while we don't have Xfinity coming back this year, we do have the Truck Series. It's the actual last race right before the playoffs begin. So those guys, they're itching not just to get into the playoffs, but they're looking for a potential Cup spot down the road. So they really show up and show off the aggressive driving that you see and the grit that those drivers bring to especially Richmond at night. It is spectacular. It's almost one of my favorite races that I watch the entire year. And I get to travel. I get the fortune to travel to a lot of the racetracks around. But those drivers, they really have the grit. You know, like you mentioned, it starts that Tuesday, August 12th. On Thursday, the 14th, we have our modifieds, our wheel and modified series that's coming, the open wheel racing. It's always super exciting. And kind of funny, our facilities team here likes watching it, but hates cleaning up after it because those guys show some pretty strong grit as well on the racetrack. And then Friday night, again at night, 7:30, August 15th, the Crafts and Truck Series. Entitlement is, we're getting ready to announce that soon. And then Saturday night, and this is the thing that, you know, is so exciting for us here in Richmond in particular, and you pointed it out perfectly. Saturday night racing is back. It's what the fans have been asking for. It's, you know, something that we've been really, really rallying and trying to get NASCAR in competition on this and broadcast it. Everyone really leaned in and said, yep, Richmond deserves Saturday night again. And so it's back August 16th, 7:30 at night, the Cookout 400. We can't wait.
Lori Warren, Richmond Raceway Track President, joining us on this Thursday morning. Lori, what is it in your opinion? Because I'm in full agreement where on Saturday night, that racing in the Cup Series it hits differently. Why, in your opinion, do you think a Saturday night race is so different than a Sunday race?
You know, I think it's from a number of different perspectives. So I'll take the fan perspective first. Sunday, it was fun, and our fans always make the most of any situation. But when you can come in and get to some of the best tailgating you will ever experience early on Saturday, enjoy that collegial community atmosphere here in Richmond. And there's just something super cool about that just for a fan. And that's before you even get into the stadium to see some great racing. I think on the drivers and teams and crew chief side, you know, going from, especially when it's warmer weather, going from day into night, and of course it will be at 7:30. We'll still have some sunlight out, but that track is going to cool down. And in our racetrack, as you know, it can eat up a lot of tires. And so what that does is the tire, the track is hard on tires. It can lead to wear and fall off. And what that means is it's more shared control of the race outcome. The drivers have to be at the top of their game. The crew chiefs have to be at the top of their game because there's so much fall off. Tire strategy really comes into play. And of course, that means the pit crews do as well. So it really is a very complete race. And the cool thing this year with August 16th and Saturday night is that it's the race right before Daytona. And then right after, and Daytona is the final race before the playoffs. Well, Daytona is a wild card race. A lot can happen there. You can be the best driver in the world and end up in a pretty crazy crash there. And so everything's out the door for you for the playoffs. Richmond, the drivers and teams can be very strategic, and it's really their best shot at being able to plan to make it into the playoffs. So I think we're going to see some great driving, going to see some great energy from the fans, and great Saturday night here in the region.
Yeah, Lori, you stole my next question because that was exactly where I was going with this. What's it like being at this stage of the schedule where it is that last strategic race? Like it just adds so much more energy, so much more excitement around it because Daytona's Daytona. You cross your fingers, you do your Hail Marys, you hope that you're going to win that race, but you can't plan for that. For Richmond, there is strategy, and an added part of that now is kind of the new tires that NASCAR introduced last season between the hard tires and the soft tires. I think we saw Daniel Suarez and Austin Dillon utilize the soft tires exceptionally well last season. Curious how involved you guys were in that new tire strategy with NASCAR.
So that's really, that's above my pay grade, as I say. As much as I would love to weigh in and have our team weigh in, that's really something that NASCAR makes a decision in partnership with Goodyear. The engineers and the scientists at Goodyear really examine what they can bring to the next race and use every single race leading up to that as data. They saw an opportunity. They continue to see an opportunity to make the short track package even better. I think when we used the option in the primary tire last year at Richmond, they clearly saw that the team liked it, leaned into it, and it certainly supported some great racing. I don't know if you remember, but on the very final turn, Austin Dillon bumped the race-leading Joey Logano into the wall and then turned Denny Hamlin, propelling him into the wall as well. So this aggressive maneuver that Dillon used allowed Dillon to surge ahead and cross the finish line in just a hundredth of a second ahead of Denny Hamlin. And a lot of that was due to the tires. What Goodyear is going to bring to Richmond, we have some ideas, but they're going to announce that soon. But I know that they've seen a lot of really great results at other tracks using that option tire that really has a lot of fall off.
Lori, you mentioned the end of the race last season. I mean, that was maybe one of the craziest NASCAR moments we've had in quite some time. What was it like from your perspective as the Richmond Raceway track president? All of a sudden, Richmond is in not just NASCAR headlines. I mean, that's leading ESPN Sports Center. That was across the sports landscape. What was it like last year for you guys kind of being at the center of this, I don't want to say controversy, but all of the talk around NASCAR was centered in Richmond, Virginia?
For weeks, it was. You're exactly right. So around 15 laps to go, I make my way down to Victory Lane because we were preparing for whoever wins to come in and have the Victory Lane celebrations. The trophy presentation is down there. The fans get to be down there. It's truly a really exciting time. So with 15 laps to go, I always make my way down there. And I actually happened to be in Victory Lane at that moment, the club that we have right beside there, because that's probably the best place for me to be able to hear and see what's happening in the last 10 laps. And when I was in there, I was in there with a bunch of the fans that were in there. And I don't think my jaw could have dropped any further down. The excitement, the thrill, the chaos, it was, I would call it pandemonium in the coolest way, but we just could not believe what we had witnessed. And then running out and watching it kind of unfold in real time was something I'll probably never forget. And I don't think any of the fans who were there will ever forget that as well.
Yeah, no, not at all. I was sitting in turn one and I just remember seeing it coming at us and we were like, did that just happen?
Did that just happen?
Like it happens so quick too, where you're like, did he just wreck two cars to win? And it's like, I think so, but Austin Dillon celebrating like, okay, here we are.
Right. And not only that, I don't know if you remember, but Austin Dillon's team and a few of the other teams sort of went running across pit road because they were so excited. And there was this moment of this crazy competition on the track, in addition to keeping, teams and fans safe on pit road. And so it went from, a great race to, oh my gosh, did this just happen? And how do we make sure that we end on a high note, keeping everyone safe, keeping the energy going? There was a lot that happened in the last, I would say, 5 to 7 minutes of that race.
Hey, Lori, fingers crossed that we get another finish that crazy this year. Appreciate you taking some time. Enjoy the next 44 days, 45 days before August 16th. I can't wait for that Saturday race. I'll be in attendance. Having a great time. Fingers crossed that Austin Dillon somehow pulls it out again.
Well, thank you so much. We can't wait to see you guys.
Thank you, Lori. Richmond Raceway track president taking some time out of her Thursday morning to chat with us about the NASCAR race that's coming to Richmond. Only one date this year rather than the two, but we do get the Saturday night racing back under the lights at Richmond Raceway. I'm super pumped for it. I am very excited. You know who's coming up for that race? Pat Jaggers is coming up for that race. As scheduled right now, we'll have Pat in attendance. Maybe try to bring him in studio on that Friday. Maybe bring him in for that time and have that interview live in studio instead, because me and Pat will be enjoying our tailgate pre-race, and we'll be enjoying the race as well. I am pumped up. That is my favorite summer event in Richmond. It's the Richmond race, and under the lights. I mean, that is when racing is at its best. And She was talking about it. Night races at Richmond certainly have a very special energy. And with that new tire that was introduced last year by Goodyear and NASCAR, it makes the race so much better. And the way Suarez and Austin Dillon were able to utilize the option tire, which was a little softer, but gave them more speed, had greater fall off though. The way they were able to utilize it really changed the way the entire race was ran last season. All right, we're going to get a last break in here, step aside, be back to wrap things up on this Thursday, our Friday here in the ESPN Richmond studio on this Thursday, July 3rd. So keep it locked right here on 106.1 ESPN Richmond.
This July 4th, the dogs are hot and the steaks are hotter. Parlay Barn Lounge's second annual hot dog eating contest kicks off at noon. Winner takes home $500 cash. 3117 West Lee Street in Scott's Addition. Get hungry, Richmond.
Parlay Barn Lounge, 3117 West Lee Street.
This is a special notice to U.S. taxpayers owing $10,000 or more to the IRS. Tax Relief Advocates is urgently notifying taxpayers that tax relief initiatives are now available that may significantly reduce or eliminate what you owe. If you're afraid of an IRS lien, levy, or wage garnishment, don't lose hope. You can now take advantage of these current relief programs to end all collections, reduce the amount you owe, and resolve your tax problem. Even if you have years of unfiled tax returns or are already in a payment plan, you may still qualify for significant relief. Struggling taxpayers can now get relief they need during these hard economic times. A hotline has been established by Tax Relief Advocates for you to call and see what you qualify for. They are A+ rated with the BBB and have over 1,000 5-star reviews. Don't wait. Call 800-575-7147. 800-575-7147. That's 800-575-7147 or simply visit TRA.com.
Must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary.
At East Coast Appliance, we love to save our customers money, and right now it's the biggest 4th of July sale ever at East Coast Appliance. Save up to 50% off new appliances store-wide. Special offers on dishwashers and laundry pairs, and limited time 0% financing you won't want to miss. Always same day or next day delivery and install available. Shop by phone, video chat, online, or in our stores. The 4th of July sale is on now at East Coast Appliance. The best price or it's free. Hi, this is Rob Nicholson, founder of East Coast Appliance. We know that buying an appliance for your home is a big purchase and it can be a stressful experience, especially at some of the larger retailers with no appliance specialist to help you. At East Coast Appliance, that's all we do, appliances. We have a fully trained staff that are experts in every type of home appliance. That's why most of our business comes from repeat and referral customers, because we value your time and know you're putting your trust in us to help you find the perfect appliance. Let us show you how stress-free shopping with us can be. Visit East Coast Appliance today and get the best price, or it's free.
When you bundle renters and auto with Progressive, you can save while protecting your most valuable possessions, like your priceless vinyl collection. Sure, you sleep on a futon because the money most people would have spent on a bed you spent on more records. But forget the fact that you can stream just about any song ever created for a few dollars a month. No, you need to listen to music in the most difficult way possible. So go ahead and get Progressive so you can save while protecting the things that matter to you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Here's Comedians and Skechers Getting Comfortable, presented by Hands-Free Skechers Slip-In.
Hey, I'm Bobby Slayton, and I'm here with my pal, comedian, and Skechers ambassador, Mr. Howie Mandel.
Why did it take so long to invent something as amazing as slip-ins? I know it seems simple, but it took Skechers to invent a better pair of shoes.
Yep, with Skechers slip-ins, you just step it and go. You don't have to touch your shoes. And by the way, slip-ins are for the whole family, men, women, and kids. In all your favorite Skechers styles, find Skechers slip-ins at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
Summertime in RVA means Richmond Kickers soccer games at City Stadium. Family fun, food trucks, and men's soccer action on the field. Tickets online at richmondkickers.com.
This is Joe and Q.
When they won the draft lottery, I said that this is going to work out so much better for them than even the Luka situation. I just think that Cooper Flagg is that type of player. I don't think this guy stops as far as working. Whereas Luka, he has so much stinking talent and he's so good, but I don't think that he's a guy that's just working on, I got to get in the gym and get better. I don't think Cooper Flagg is ever satisfied.
Joe and Q, weekdays from noon to 3 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app. Previously on Clinton and Friends.
I think he wants various NFL cities to say goodbye in reverence to the body of work of Aaron Rodgers. I remember when he was the young gunner that everybody liked. Then his entire personal life became everybody's front page news, and now he wants to draw that back and say nobody should pay attention to it. I don't know, man. Some guys fall in love with the limelight, and that's a tough place to be.
Clinton and Friends, weekdays from 10 to noon Eastern on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app.
This is Joe Simpson with the Atlanta Braves, and when I'm on my road trip to D.C. and Baltimore, I always tune in to 106.1 ESPN Richmond for all my sports news. They've got you covered.
I have a question for the listeners out there. Text in your answer, 804-327-0888. Would you rather Richmond have 2 dates in a season for the Cup Series, or would you rather have one night race on a Saturday? My answer is one night race on a Saturday. I think that is more fun. I think it becomes a huge event. My answer is one race on a Saturday night, the way they have it currently constructed.
I've got to experience the Saturday night race, and then I will have my answer for you.
Oh, you've never experienced it?
I've not. I've only been to the Sunday race.
I went as a kid, back when it was on Saturday nights.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of fun. And now as an adult, you don't have to worry about the hangover on Monday.
That is valid.
Look, I got to talk to Pat about it, because like I said, Pat coming up, he's taking off work. He's coming up. We're watching the race from the stands, from wherever we're going. I got to figure out what time he wants to get there tailgating. But if I could, I'd get there like at 1 p.m., 2 p.m., start tailgating, then get things rolling. Have a good Saturday.
I don't participate in the tailgates because I am always on the media credential, so I try to not partake in those.
That's fair. That is why I'm not being media for this race.
Now, I will say one of my favorite moments with the credential was when I went to the Commanders-Eagles game last year on the Thursday night, and the Eagle fans were like, hey, no. You're not going to park over here and not at least have food with us. And I was like, I don't do tailgates because,
Philly fans get a bad rap.
Yeah, the dude was like, I don't care what you are. He's like, you're going to eat. He's like, you at least got to eat. So I was like, fine. They gave me a Pepsi. So that was fine. But yeah, I typically stay away from that. But when I did security and I was working one of the events, the tailgate looks like a blast. It really does.
They are. We got a text over the break from John. Richmond used to be the final race before the playoffs. They probably should go back to that. It was always a good, crazy race. John, do you remember last year's race? Was that not a good, crazy race?
Yeah.
I mean, that was the race right before Daytona. It really is. And Lori mentioned this. It kind of is still the last race of the regular season, because Daytona's an absolute prayer. You just, even the best racers can end up finishing 35th in that race because of a wild crash, because they got in the wrong line for drafting. It's such more of a crapshoot at Daytona. So Richmond really is like the last race where you can, quote unquote, control your own destiny through strategy and through, pitting and tire usage and everything like that. Like there is strategy to a Richmond race. Strategy is not a thing at Daytona. So Richmond kind of still is the last real race before the playoffs.
And last year's race, we had a little bit of rain, I believe. So we had the new wet tires or something like that. And then they were switching out. It did get very strategic in that race. And of course, we had the controversial finish that put Richmond Raceway on the map for all the right reasons.
For all the right reasons.
Trending for all the right reasons for almost like a week.
For a while.
Yeah.
I mean, that was because then they for the whole like follow up to Daytona and even after Daytona, they were still waiting on like the Austin Dillon decision.
Yeah.
And he ended up getting banned from the playoffs. Like that win didn't count towards playoffs. And then he got fined a little bit, some player points. I think he should have made it in the playoffs. Rubin's racing, man. Rubin's racing. But they didn't want to incentivize wrecking people to win races.
It wasn't talked about either, but there was some dramatic issues down in the victory lane or victory road or whatever they call it down there. It was a situation with one of the drivers' families and another car.
Oh yeah,
and I don't think that necessarily made the news, but that almost became an issue.
Yeah.
And that was funny. It was my first time being in a sporting event where I was like, man, I felt like I was at the club. I need to back up. This might get a little crazy here. Let me not
I think it was Joey Logano like revving his engine. On pit road.
Yeah. And the family was walking by, and I'm not gonna lie, I don't think he saw them. I think he was just in the moment angry. But it's one of those situations where clearly you don't care, And once he got out the car, I was like, yeah, let me back up.
Yeah, let me slowly retract here.
Yeah, I'm not trying to get in the way of this.
You know who else was trying to slowly retract?
Who?
The Atlanta Hawks with that New Orleans Pelicans deal.
Oh.
So at the NBA draft, we all remember that the New Orleans Pelicans sent over a 2026 unprotected first-round draft pick to the Atlanta Hawks to move up 10 spots in the draft to select Derek Queen. And there was a new article that came out. Dan Devine tweeted a thing of it, but Fear Shamit Dua, he writes for a Substack, In the Know, and you can follow that intheknow.substack.com. But he got a source, a Eastern Conference executive with knowledge of how the conversations went from Atlanta's perspective on this call. Apparently, New Orleans called Atlanta and was like, hey, we want to trade you this. And Atlanta said, sorry, one more time? They said, yeah, we want to trade you the unprotected first round pick next year. And we just want to, this is the deal. And they said, sorry, one more time. Can you tell us what's included in this trade? And New Orleans kept telling it. And then apparently it got to the point where they hung up, the senior vice presidents and whatever, they hung up. And then the general managers got involved. Atlanta's general manager called New Orleans' general manager and said, are you sure you want to trade the 2026 unprotected first round pick? And New Orleans said, yeah, we do. Why? What do you mean? And then Atlanta said, all right, we'll happily take that from you then. Just wanted to make sure that was actually part of the deal before we agreed to this. And people are like, what do you mean that's a bad deal? What a fleece. What a fleece.
That sounds
job.
like an intern made a, and no offense to Josie, but that sounds like an intern made a mistake because, when we talked about it, it was like unprotected.
Yeah.
That's
That's
not how we do
unprotected
things.
first, unless they're like 7 years from now.
That's probably how the call went when the Falcons called to get back into the first round.
Yeah.
You're like, wait, you're giving me a first round pick for this?
You guys do know who you are, right? You do know you're supposed to stink next year, right? You realize this could be a top 5 pick, right? So that's probably what Atlanta's saying to him too. Sorry, Zion hasn't ever been healthy. This could be a very good lottery pick. You know that, right? And they're like,
well,
take it.
In the Hawks case too, especially given the landscape of the East, I would hope, and I'm sure they would hope, that they would make a deeper run in the playoffs and then that thing not necessarily become an issue. But yeah, I'm with you, man. Like the fact that they asked you 3 times should have gave you pause.
And the Hawks are like, we're supposed to be good this year, and you guys are supposed to be bad, which means we'll get your bad draft pick. And you're sure you want this? And New Orleans is like, take our lottery ticket for next year, please. And Atlanta has made some good moves where they have set themselves up for success, not this year, not just this year, but next year too. I mean, what? They got Dorian Finney-Smith, they got Kristaps Porzingis. And I'm going to sneak in a team to keep an eye on. Sneak in a team in the Eastern Conference that is going to go from horrible to not just play-in worthy, but playoff worthy. Keep an eye on the Charlotte Hornets. Keep an eye on the old Charlotte Hornets, formerly known as the Bobcats.
You can only get like one instance where it's like, I didn't see that coming. You can't get 6. All right. So in the past week, I've heard people talk about the 76ers, keep an eye on the Wizards, keep an eye on them. The Hornets, keep an eye on them. The Hawks, keep an eye on them. The Knicks might take a slide. Like we can't have all these things happen. So you got to pick it just one. You can't have 5 of those things happen.
Here's my pick then. The official Fitz the Bill pick on July 3rd to keep an eye on. Keep an eye on the Charlotte Hornets.
All right. They still trading LaMelo?
Yeah, I hope not.
I was going to say.
That'll blow this whole thing up.
Yeah, because if they trade LaMelo, yeah.
That'll blow up my spot.
Absolutely.
But if LaMelo stays healthy, Brandon Miller stays healthy, I like Con Knipple. Pat Connaughton is a nice veteran presence in that locker room.
Yeah, veteran presence.
They're assembling a group. Ryan Kalkbrenner might not make the team, but if he does, that's a solid third option at the 5. Keep an eye on the old Charlotte Hornets.
Third option at the 5. Wow. I don't even think rotations go that deep in today's NBA.
Just keep an eye on the Charlotte Hornets. I like them. Keep an eye also on the Dallas Mavericks because they are crumbling before our eyes. The Dallas Mavericks have now lost 4 assistant coaches Jared Dudley, JJ Barea left earlier in the week. Their lead assistant, their defensive coordinator, left Jason Kidd about 2 weeks ago. Coming out last night, God Sham God. What a name. And I know he's a great, I know he's a legend.
Hoops legend, man.
He's a hoops legend. But every time I see God Sham God's name come up, I go, that's right. He's a person.
Yeah, you want to see him on the court.
No, I will never see him on the court. But God Sham God has now left as an assistant for the Dallas Mavericks. He's taking on a increased role with the Orlando Magic. So that is 4 assistant coaches that have defected from the Dallas Mavericks in the last 2 weeks.
All right, before we wrap up for the weekend, the early weekend, I got one complaint. It's not even from the text line; it's from the producer area.
Pat Costello, I'm over it.
Nah, when you went through the All-Star lineup for MLB, this is going back some ways.
Yeah, this is going back to hour number 1.
Yeah, but when you went through the All-Star lineup,
who did I leave out that makes you?
It's not even that you left them out; you just had to plug one player. You plugged one player. And it was the Mariners All-Star. Your fandom seeps out so much. It's ridiculous.
Look, no, he's not. It's not because he's
the All-Star game is in Atlanta. Ronald Acuna is going to be in the home run derby. Yeah. Ronald Acuna should be the headliner. Even if the Braves are terrible, you got your star player in Atlanta for the Braves. Look, and you went all the way west to the Mariners.
Who's the MLB's home run leader? Big Dumper himself.
Yeah,
Cal
the
Raleigh.
Big Dumper. Big deal.
Look, the Mariners, we don't have a lot to hang our hat on right now. We went from like a 5-game lead over the Astros to now we're like 6.5 games back. So I'm going to hang my hat on Cal Raleigh, the Big Dumper.
I don't know if I'm impressed or disappointed, but I was like, yo, you read one name. You highlighted one name in that segment, and it just happened to be the Mariners catcher.
Oh, it just so happens, man. I don't know how that happens.
Some filthy bias you got there, man. We're not going to make it through football season if you're going to be like this.
No,
we're not talking Seahawks.
I'm a very pessimistic fan, and you will learn that in football season. I probably won't bring up a lot of Seattle Seahawks on this show.
We'll see. I'm going to call you out on it if you do.
I will be just overly pessimistic. We'll be week 2, and I'll be like, the season's over. Sam Darnold stinks. Well, I mean, I think that now. I think Sam Darnold stinks now. But stay locked on the spot where RVA talks sports. We got Braves baseball tonight, right? A little Braves baseball action.
A little bit.
Between now and then, of course, you got RVA Best Sports Talk coming up next. Clinton and Friends, 10 to noon. Joe and Q, 12 to 3. Freddie and Harry from 3 to 4. And then we're back live and local from the capital of the Commonwealth. Matt Josephs from 4 until 6 with Border to Border as he fills in for Bob Black. For now, that'll do it for Fitz the Bill. No show tomorrow. Talk to you Monday.
Your exclusive home for the NBA all season long. Flipside action on W291CL Lakeside Richmond and WURV HD2 Richmond.